Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Taramina, blogger of the Dragon's Den, blogger of Inside the OAA, and I'm one of the hosts between Terminates on Orion Neighborhood Television. You can watch us on Oxford Community Television as well, and also watching on YouTube. We got some very interesting topics to talk about today. Of course, girls volleyball, the pre-districts occurred last night. Yesterday on Monday. Of course, we film every Tuesday. So pre-districts occurred last night. We got football as well. What happened to the league? Of course, what happened? It was a rough week for some people. And there's only now 3 teams playing left in the OAA. And 2 of them are in the blue division, which is Groves and Berkeley. We'll go over that in the second segment. And third segment, of course, is very interesting. Got states this weekend for cross country. We'll go over previews who I think could be in line for and you got girls basketball tryouts starting next week. So it's gonna be an interesting week. When you look at previewing and you look at, so it's very important. You know what I mean, to keep an eye on what's going on within the league. But let's go with girls volleyball. Of course, the pre-district occurred last night, and not a lot of surprises, to be honest with you. The biggest one was probably held at Waterford Kettering with Lake Orion ousting Clarkson in 3 games, 3 games to none. To me, that was very much it was kind of a surprise. But you got to give Coach Neri Scribata a lot of credit for what he did, especially, but also the return of Courtney Whiteman was huge for Lake Orion in that win. The district at Waterford Kettering, I don't like how it's set up over there. I really don't, because you see how in most volleyball games, you're usually like in an east-west direction. You know what I mean? But at Waterford Kettering, it's like a north-south. You know what I mean? Where basically you're going to have the bleachers are basically one part of the end line, whereas the other set of the bleachers, you got a huge crowd there, and you don't have a lot of space, to do what you want to do. And to me, that really bothered me, last night. And I know it kind of had to bother Oxford as well, but Oxford, of course, they've had experience doing this. A couple of years ago, they started going more horizontal last year when they put in a new court over there. But there was a time that Oxford went to the north-south format with their court instead of going like opposite the basketball court. So it's like, basically if you can do it from like this angle where, you have a lot of space, I think it makes a lot of sense. Whereas if you do it from this angle here, it ain't going to work out well, especially if you are a interesting team, you know what I mean? So, but it is what it is. So, but let's look at, I talked to Waterford Kettering's athletic director yesterday, and she said there was a lot of green and white there at the night game. I said, yeah, there is, because, Lake Orion wears green and white. And you look at what happened in that game. Kelly Averill-Pinner did a really nice job. Her game plan was actually smart, actually genius. Was try to contain Lake Orion's outside hitters, but because they're going to be bringing the power. But if you try to block it down and swat it down, then that makes up for the problems. And Clarkson did a somewhat decent job on it. They did a somewhat decent job. They did a very good job on that. But I had talked with Waterford Kettering's athletic director. She said she's never seen so much power like both Lake Orion and Clarkson had. I said, well, Oxford's got power too. You know what I mean. And of course, this is coming from, and I respect the athletic director over at Waterford Kettering, but the Kensington Athletic Lakes Athletic Conference, Athletic Activity Association, is a lot different from the Oakland Activity Association, based on the players who play there and based on the power that they can provide. When you look at that district, Lake Orion can provide power. Clarkson can provide power. Oxford can provide power. Those three teams are just absolutely, they got highly touted athletes who played AU volleyball. And all three of those teams, you look at Oxford, this is a team that, they played much better volleyball the last 3 weeks of the regular season. They have played much better, and they look solid. Clarkson, they played the month of October, playing better volleyball, despite the fact that they've been getting honorable mentions each week. And look at Lake Orion. This is a team that really has not had Courtney Whiteman for the last month due to an ankle injury. So, the OAA's got power. They have got a lot of power, and it's playing Kettering, playing Mott, both those teams, yeah, they're okay, but I just think when you're playing against a Lake Orion, a Clarkson, and Oxford, you ain't going to win. So we'll go more over this district in a little bit, but let's go to the other districts around the league. Of course, when I look at the big ones, it's going to be the big upset trap looks like it's going to be at Bloomfield Hills, because despite the fact Birmingham Seaholm knocked off Troy and Birmingham Marion knocked off Groves, both of them were sweeps. I was surprised that Birmingham Marion Groves match was a sweep. I was very surprised about that. But you got to look at, it's on a collision course for a district final between Birmingham Marion and Birmingham Seaholm in the district final Friday night at Bloomfield Hills. That'll be a heck of a game. Really much would. But I just think this year Seaholm's much better, though. I really do think that. But when you look at the game with Troy for Seaholm, Troy really did not have a chance. I just don't know why Troy's in that district in the first place. I really don't know why they are. I really don't. But when you look at Birmingham Marion, Andrew Kozakis, it's tough. It's very difficult for her. You know what I mean? It's very difficult, knowing that Seaholm's on the other side of the bracket. But to go in and destroy Groves like that, kind of impressive. It just proved they're ready for districts. But I think they're going to have a tough time with Bloomfield Hills. Bob Hurdle's team's prepared. Their teams are always well prepared. And I just think the problem is and if Bloomfield Hills can get that biggest student section that they've had for basketball games, even under former coach Dwayne Graves, Marion has some trouble when they deal with big crowds. The Maple Forest, you have Lake Orion student section. If you get Birmingham Marion into a hostile environment, they're going to lose. There's no doubt about it. That's why I think Bloomfield Hills has a chance. They have a great chance. If it all depends on their play, and then if you basically can get the big crowd, because the Maple Forest will come out for Seaholm. And then if you get the big crowd to play Birmingham Marion, Marion's done. I'm sorry. They have not fared well against teams with big crowds. When you look at their losses, particularly against the Maple Forest, they struggle. They mightily struggle. Even last year when they lost in their home court, they struggled. So it'll be an interesting game between Bloomfield Hills and Birmingham Marion. It'll be a very interesting game right there. District, I'm curious to see. It's going to be a good semifinals. There's 2 games. That's going to be at Royal Oak. Of course, Troy Athens taking on Sterling Heights. That'll be a heck of a game. That really much will be. Sterling Heights all season's been a team that's underachieved. Troy Athens, same thing. I think Troy Athens is a better team here. Despite the fact Sterling Heights has played good volleyball as of late. But I just think when you look at the games that they're in, of course, you got Alexis Van Hoff, who I think is going to have a huge game in that game against them, Sterling Heights. But, it's at Royal Oak. Troy Athens, despite the fact they didn't play there, they should know that court because of the league. And I think that Troy Athens has played a much more tougher schedule than Sterling Heights. They played a much more tougher schedule. The other game, of course, is Royal Oak playing Warren Covenant. That's going to be an interesting game. That will be very interesting. You want to check Warren Covenant's fashion statements, you can check on them at my prep zones Macomb. You know what I mean? I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is. But Royal Oak will be an interesting challenge, though. Warren Covenant was very talented, though, despite the fashion statement. They're still a talented team. Royal Oak, this has been a team that's not been consistent all year. They've struggled. But being at home gives you that advantage. Being at home will give you that advantage. It's not going to be easy, but you never know. You really never know. I'd say Berkeley's on a really nice run to get to the regional. They are, because I don't think Detroit Renaissance will beat them. I don't think Southfield will beat them. I just don't think Lather will beat them. Their big win was over Oak Park. I was surprised at the score, 3-0. I thought Oak Park had a lot more athletes and expectations, but I guess not. And it was unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And then, of course, we have District 42 at Warren Fitzgerald. Of course, that game had 2 games last night over there. Ferndale knocked off Hazel Park. Ferndale's got a great shot if they can knock off Warren Fitzgerald. Warren Fitzgerald's the best team in this district. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be a tough matchup. Then yesterday I got Detroit Mumford, Detroit Central Collegiate Prep. Don't know much about it. Really don't. Don't know much about it. But it'll be interesting. We got District 30 at Eisenhower. Of course, Rochester knocked Stony Creek off. Stony Creek knocked Rochester off last night. Stony Creek's still very good. Experience. Manny Moran's team's very good. They got a tough one coming up. The fun starts with them Wednesday night, because you're going to have to deal with, because you got Utica playing Stony Creek. Utica's a very good team. Stony Creek is one of the top teams in the state. Manny Moran's done a really nice job with that team. Just a magnificent job with that team. You look at, I think, Coach of the Year candidates for girls volleyball in the OA. She's got to be up there. Loma Tony Scribata, Heather Lippert. They've got to be up there for Coach of the Year. And also Michael Love at Farmington Hills Harrison. They're going to be at West Bloomfield tomorrow. They're going to be at West Bloomfield playing Harrison. That's going to be an epic rematch of the white title game. That was won by West Bloomfield. And then the other side, you got Farmington Hills Mercy playing North Farmington. Interesting matchup of assistant coaches. I did not know that North Farmington had a new coach. I did not know that. But they went and beat Farmington in 3 games. Kind of surprised me. It kind of surprised me that they did. But back to Eisenhower. Of course, the big games right there are Utica, Stony Creek. But Utica, Eisenhower against Rochester Adams. That's going to be a good matchup. I think it's going to be a really good matchup. Utica, Eisenhower. They shared the MAC White title with, I think it's Anchor Bay. Yep, Anchor Bay. And this is a team that they've got consistency. They're riding off an emotional high. Adams had a really tough season in the red. They've had a brutal season in the red. This is But they should use that experience to get them ready for this game. I think that when you look at this game, I mean, Adams is going to be competing. They're going to be competitive. But I just think when you look at Utica Eisenhower playing on home court, end of the day, I just think it's going to be too much. I really do. I mean, it's not going to be easy. It never is easy. Never is easy. But back to Waterford Kettering, of course, we got a lot of matchups here we'll preview, of course. We're going to preview them shortly. Got District 21 at West Bloomfield. I think that district final is going to be West Bloomfield taking on Farmington Hills Mercy. I really think that Andrew Vogel's team's done a very nice job. Loretta Vogel, she's done a very nice job with the Mercy team. I just think they're going to be too much for North Farmington. I just think that they're just going to steamroll them Wednesday night. And then you got West Bloomfield taking on Farmington Hills Harrison. It wouldn't surprise me to go 5 games. Really wouldn't surprise me to go 5. But I just think West Bloomfield, home court in the swamp, they'll win that game. And then and if you can create a hostile environment, if West Bloomfield can create a hostile environment against Farmington Hills Mercy, they might have a chance to win that thing. They might have a chance, But the key is going to be the fans. If the fans come there to West Bloomfield, make it a hostile environment, especially for a team like Farmington Hills Mercy, whom in the Catholic League, of course, Mercy's an all-girls school, so who knows? Who knows? District 23 at Royal Oak, of course, who I think is going to come out, I think it's going to be Troy Athens and Warren Cousineau. Both of them, I just think that both teams are, I think Troy Athens will beat Sterling Heights, because Troy Athens played in a much tougher conference. Sterling Heights, of course, they're a good team, but I just think the tougher conference will prevail. I just think Troy Athens will prevail and play Warren Cousineau. And I said Troy Athens would get out of that district at Royal Oak, and they're not backing down. I'm not backing down on that promise. I think Troy Athens gets out of that district, and wins that. And then got District 24 at Southfield Lathrop, of course. I think it's going to be Detroit Renaissance taking on Berkeley. I think Berkeley will beat Detroit Renaissance and move on to the regional, where I think they have a great chance of going to the state quarterfinals. That's something that's very interesting, because you don't really have a true team in that region. You really don't. District 42 at Warren Fitzgerald. I think it's going to be Warren Fitzgerald taking on Detroit Mumford. I think Fitzgerald wins that game because they're at home. I really do think that. Ferndale had a really nice season, but they beat Warren Fitzgerald. I'd be shocked. I'd be really shocked if they beat them. District 25 at Bloomfield Hills, of course. If it's Seaholm Marion's going to be playing each other. Seaholm will win that. Birmingham Marion, I think Birmingham Marion's going to have a lot of problems with Bloomfield Hills. I think it's going to go 5, maybe 4. But I just think at the end of the day, it's going to be a Birmingham Seaholm Marion district final. End of the day, I just think that Birmingham Seaholm will knock off Birmingham Marion. District 30 at Utica Eisenhower. I just think it's going to be Stony Creek's going to take on Utica Eisenhower. I think Stony Creek moves on in that district. District 31, Oxford will play Orion. I'm sorry, Kettering and Pontiac. I'm sorry. But Oxford and Orion are right now the 2 best teams in that district. Oxford's very good. They're going to steamroll Kettering in 3. For Pontiac and Orion, oh my God. I don't know how to say this. I really don't. It's going to be Orion against Oxford in the district final. And it's going to be, and of course, I think Orion gets out and wins that district. Those are my volleyball thoughts, everybody. So good luck to everybody this week competing in the district semifinals and district final this week. Regionals coming up. We'll preview those next week. We got football coming up here on Oaa Now.
Hello, Lake Orion. It's Anthony Taramina, co-host of Between Taraminas. I want to let you know of a new show called History Now. In it, we're going to talk about global, national, and political events that occur in our lifetime. We're going to also have guests and also have co-hosts as well, and also plenty of surprises. Catch us on History Now here on ONTV.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. Sammy Taramina. Got football here. Of course, bad week for the OAA. Don't know what happened. We'll recap each game what happened. When you look at the league this year, kind of the week one games kind of really proved how bad the league was this year, based against everybody in the state of Michigan. But it had two red teams in there. You had four white teams, and then three blue teams that competed in the playoffs. But now you have three teams left. Two of them are in the blue. And there were some big upsets that occurred. There were some monster upsets. We'll recap each game coming up. The big one, of course, a lot of people I still can't get my mind over, is West Bloomfield. This was a team losing 31-28 to Novi. Novi was a dangerous team coming in because they started the year off 0-3. They had a very good quarterback and junior, I think it was Nate Barakis, and then their running back, Emmanuel Jackson, going to Western Michigan next year to play college football. And what surprised me was, and they got a wide receiver who's very good. Can't remember the name now. It's McCannibal, I think that's him. But I cannot believe what they did to West Bloomfield. McCannibal, that's what it is. I can't believe what they did to the Lakers. What they did to their offense. What they did to their defense. Jeff Burnside, former coach at Berkeley, had a really nice game plan for the Lakers. That was contain Tristan Jackson, keep him in the pocket, and make sure his athletic ability don't beat you. Even when they were at wide receiver, when he played wide receiver, make sure you have a guy covering him. Your best athlete covering him. And then early on in that game, you kind of thought if Novi hung around, then, it could have been you knew Novi could believe, because this was a team that had nothing to lose. And they didn't have nothing to lose against West Bloomfield. They truly did not have anything to lose. And that's what happened here. What also hurt West Bloomfield were the pre-snap penalties that killed them. And also not getting off the field on 3rd and 4th down and long. It's kind of like, it's sad. It's a very sad situation. It's very sad, to see what happened to West Bloomfield. Because if you're in a 3rd and 20 situation, you know how to get off the field on 3rd and 20. If you don't get off the field on 3rd and 20, you're disappointed. I mean, that is a momentum killer if you're down on 3rd and 20. Or if you're in 4th and long. At least 3rd down and 10 or 4th and 10. If you can't get off the field on those type of things, you don't deserve to move on. And that's what happened in West Bloomfield. That's what killed them in that game. They let Emmanuel Jackson go loose. I know he had a touchdown for a 65 yards and another one from 61 yards. Both long plays for touchdowns. And also, every time West Bloomfield scored, Novi answered. They answered every West Bloomfield score. Because the game was kind of like going really slow, and then Novi ended up taking the lead. And then the Lakers scored, then the Wildcats matched them. I thought personally, West Bloomfield, they had a chance to win that game late. They really did. They recovered an onside kick. Thought they scored on a trick play, but the penalty got called back for an illegal man downfield. And I don't know. And then they had to throw up an interception, and that's how West Bloomfield lost that game. That's how they lost. Now, I don't know if West Bloomfield took Novi lightly. I don't think they did, but if they did, it's shame on them. Because this was a team that I thought personally was a team that was going to go to the state finals. They had that type of talent to make a run, and they didn't. Now they're 1-2 in their last 2 playoff appearances, last 3 games in the playoffs. They didn't look good against Wall Lake Central. Lost to Novi. They're playing Kensington teams. That's unfortunate because this was a really good class West Bloomfield had. 5 Division I recruits going. 5. And now, this was a team I thought would have everything. They finished undefeated for the first time since 1968. Beat Lake Orion and Clarkson the same season. Won the Red for the first time. But they could not beat Novi. They couldn't beat Novi. They couldn't beat them. It's disappointing. I don't know what that says about Ronald Bellamy as a coach. I don't know. He's a good guy. Great coach. But, when you know that you need to win a big one, it's going to be difficult. Next year, I think for West Bloomfield, it's going to be very difficult. Despite the fact that, they're an open enrolled school. But it could be very difficult for them. But it is what it is. So, other Division I game, of course, was Clarkston-Romeo. Of course, Romeo won that game at Dan Barnwell Field 28-14. Shockingly enough, the Romeo defense, of course, led by the 3 small interior defensive linemen, they shut down Nolan Erickson to 12 carries for 22 yards. 12 carries for 22 yards. That would be like a miracle worker stopping Nolan Erickson. What the 3 small Romeo defensive linemen did. They're as athletic as hell. And they shut down one of the best running backs in the state of Michigan. Unbelievable. Unreal. Romeo had a really nice game plan, too. And that starts with 3-year quarterback Paul Hurley. They scored a touchdown off a 71-yard sweep. And then, of course, they scored another one off a 59-yard pass touchdown. Brad Tanner was huge in that game as well against Clarkson. He had a touchdown in that game. What shocked me was Clarkson's inability to win games on grass. This was the first time Clarkson played on grass since 2008. And ironically, the opponent they played was Romeo. And they lost that game 37-8. They lost that game. Clarkson's touchdowns, of course, one of them was a 1-yard touchdown by Erickson. The other one was a 96-yard kickoff return by who's going to be probably the starting running back next year, Michael Flugel. He took one back 96 yards for a touchdown. That was Clarkson's offense. Alex Kessman did not play well in that game. He truly did not play well. I mean, you look at that game. He threw an interception in the end zone. And then missing a 43-yard field goal. The chance to give Clarkson some points and some momentum that they needed. They didn't get it. They were down 7.5. And then, of course, Romeo goes down and scores, makes it 14-0. And then, all the fireworks festivities start. I didn't think Kessman had a really good game at all. Is it the grass? I don't know. Because they said over at Barnable Field the grass wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. Now, it's not like the messes that when Lake Orion and Clarkson used to play on when Dan Barnable Field became a mud pit. It was a mud bowl. Because of Romeo's playing surface. Romeo's done a really good job improving that grass surface. And I got to give their athletic director, Greg Williams, a lot of credit. He's done a really nice job of that. Really nice job. But, you know, it looked like Clarkson lost to the better team. Romeo was truly, I thought, a better team in that game than Clarkson. Because when they played Utica Eisenhower, they lost by 3 points. Their co-coaches were very concerned about that game. You know, how was their mindset, their psyche? They ended up playing against the Division II state champions, the Division I state champions, you know, the back-to-back state champs. And then to do that to a Clarkson team, you know, like that, it was kind of the perfect storm. It really was kind of the perfect storm for Clarkson. You know, so Clarkson, there's going to be a new champion Division I. No OA teams left in Division I. None. You know, so it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. To go to Division II, of course, the big upset, there are a couple games. Berkeley beat Lake to 27-0. Kind of no surprise. Nolan Given played well there. But this is Lathrop's last game as a school. That's unfortunate. You know what I mean? It's sad. You know, Jay Stolman did a really nice job with that team, you know, replacing Keith Stevens as coach. But it's unfortunate for these kids now, you know, that they're going to merge with Southfield next year and merge together. So it's unfortunate, you know. But Berkeley did very well. You got to give Nolan Given a lot of credit. He did very well in that game. Berkeley, they're going to be a team, you know, but it's going to be an interesting game for Berkeley because who their next opponent's going to be. And it's Southfield. Southfield laid down a whooping on Oak Park, 38-14. It was 4 weeks ago. Oak Park demolished Southfield 50-14. They just demolished them. Now Southfield had 5 players who did not play in that game due to suspension, but home sweet home probably is like a huge different environment. It's different maker. It's a difference maker. The reason why I say that is because, one, I just think that, you know, playing at home, you kind of have that advantage. You control what time you play. You know, for Southfield, I was kind of surprised they wanted to play Saturday at 1 o'clock. They kind of wanted to play Saturday at 1 o'clock. So, but they beat Oak Park pretty bad. Sam Johnson III had a really nice game. The running game had a really nice game. It was an all-around team effort for Southfield. Now they get to play Berkeley, which is going to be very interesting. We'll go over that in the third segment. We'll preview that game, Southfield versus Berkeley. Another game we're going to talk about here is Farmington losing 33-30 to Livonia Franklin. It kind of showed its ugly head in that Lake Orion, in Farmington's last 2 games that they lost to, Lake Orion and North Farmington. The reason why, what didn't help was one of their best players, Kyle Brunson. He got hurt with an ankle injury. Didn't come back to the game. So they had to rely a lot on David Reese to carry him. Now, Livonia Franklin, the Patriots, had a very nice quarterback, very good quarterback, very good running back. Farmington couldn't stop him. I don't know what it is with that team, with that program. Do they teach tackling over there? You know, do they know? I mean, like, especially when you know you have to stop their quarterback and their running back. You don't stop those 2 guys, you ain't going to win. And that's what happened over at Farmington, at Livonia. You know, because that game was at Livonia Franklin. But, you know, when you look at Farmington, this was a team, you know, they were a bubble team in my opinion. I just could not figure out what happened in that game. How they lose 33-30 when you're up by 1 point at halftime, shutting down a very good high-octane offense. Then you let them go off. They let them go off. You know, they got outscored 22-14. And that's how they lose. That is how they lose. And that's unfortunate. You know, the question at Farmington next year is I don't think their future's that good. Their JV's okay. But I don't know if they'll be able to compete in the white. I just don't know if they will be able to. So, but for Livonia Franklin to get to play Jackson next week, So for Farmington, they got a lot of questions heading into next year. They got a lot of questions. There's no doubt they got a lot of questions. The last game that shocked me, of course, was Groves and Harrison. Groves winning over Harrison 10-0. I bashed Groves, saying that they play in a weak league. They did play in a weak league. But the last 2 weeks have proven what the Falcons have really been made of. Playing a team, an Ann Arbor Pioneer, that's still in the playoffs. Winning that game, although there was some controversy in that game. And then beating a team with a lot of pride and a lot of tradition in Farmington Hills Harrison and shutting out Harrison 10-0. That just tells me how good that this defense is. It really does. You know, that Groves can somehow go into that game. You know, and it was scoreless. You know, I think it was a perfect game for Groves because if you could shut Harrison down for 3 quarters, you know what I mean, being a 0-0 game, you knew you had a good chance to win that game. Now, if you were in a game where you were probably down 17-0, you probably much get ready to turn the pads in. That's what happened. I mean, like, Groves believed that they could go in and win that game. And they did win that game. Because they out-schemed Harrison. It's hard to out-scheme a team coached by John Harrington. And Brendan Flaherty's team did it. You know, they end up scoring a touchdown on a bootleg pass. You know, that was set up by the junior quarterback. Very talented kid. But, you know, I think this was more of Harrison losing this game than Groves winning it. Because Groves' defense did shut Harrison down. But Harrison had the ball 4 times in Groves' territory. And they came up with nothing. Whether they missed field goals, whether they got stopped on 4th down. But this was on Harrison losing this game. You know, and a lot of people said Harrison, I thought personally this would be Harrison's year to get revenge on people. And I thought that. You know, I thought they would go into Walled Lake Western and beat him. I thought they'd go in there and beat him. But, you know, they couldn't go into Beverly Hills and beat Groves. And that's the unfortunate part of it. Well, they couldn't go into Groves and beat him. Now you got a lot of questions now with Harrison. Because if they're going to remain a school, if they're going to be open next year. I mean, if it was my personal opinion, we don't know what's going to happen until November, until this month when they make a decision. You know, so this will not be for the weak of heart. And there's a lot of uncertainty going on over Harrison. You know, because with the merger likely possibly going to happen. And, of course, you have the Southfield merger down there. And, of course, you have the Farmington, what's going to happen with Harrison. I would like to keep Harrison open. A lot of people do. Especially for Coach John Harrington, who I think was pretty close to being the all-time winningest head coach in the entire state of Michigan. He would proceed out for Casa. Of course, he was very successful at bringing Brother Ice. But, you know, back to Groves. Huge win for the Groves Falcons. Huge win for them. Now they get to move on to go to Walled Lake, take on Walled Lake Western, the Warriors. Tough matchup for them, though. It'll be a very difficult matchup. Final thoughts. It was a bad week for the OA. Really bad week. I mean, I didn't expect West Bloom to get upset by Novi. Nobody did. But they got no one to blame but themselves. You know, maybe it's better having a loss than it is to go undefeated. Maybe it's better. You're better off because you get tested. If you lose, you get humbled. And I guess it's what happened to West Bloomfield this season was, you know, that loss didn't help them. I mean, the loss, if you lose a game, it helps you. It gets you tougher. It gets you better off. But it's a dang shame for West Bloomfield. Dang shame. Dang waste of talent, too. Especially with the season that you had. you were going on and riding high on. Clarkson losing to Romeo was not a surprise to me. It was going to be a tough game for Clarkson going on there. And then also the loss. And then recapping all Division 2, of course. South Berkeley moving on with no surprise. Surprise that Harrison lost to Groves. Farmington going out was a surprise. And we'll mention now that coming up. So we'll see what happens. Right now, when we come back, we're going to talk about the OA. We're going to preview the 2 games affecting OA coming up this week here on Oaa Now. Welcome back to Oaa Now on Sammy Taramina. Big cross country weekend coming up here to state meet held at MIS at Brooklyn. Some good teams are in that tournament. Of course, you got Birmingham Seaholm there for the girls. You got Lake Orion, Clarkston, Adams for the in the girls. Also in the boys, you got some good teams in there. You got Lake Orion in there. You got Novi, who I think is going to be a huge threat. In there, but you got a lot of good teams coming up, so I encourage a lot of you to go to the cross-country meet, state meet at MIS. Very interesting meet. Very interesting cross-country meet. You know, some very good runners throughout the state of Michigan there, so that's my shout-out, encourage my viewers, our viewers to go out there and enjoy the beautiful scenes of MIS in Brooklyn, Michigan. So... But let's look at previewing the football games coming up. Of course, there are only 2 games this week. You look at the 2 games, of course, both of them are in Division 2. There are a lot of good Division 1 games, though, but they're not, not in league, so nothing you can say much about those games. But here are my thoughts heading into the 2 games we got in the league this week. The first one's going to be at Walled Lake, and between the Falcons of Groves and the Warriors of Walled Lake Western. This is going to be a test for Groves because Walled Lake Western has a very good defense. They have a very good offense. Their offense averages 42 points a game. They have one of the best quarterbacks in Kyle Thomas. They have one of the best wide receivers. Don't remember the name right now, but I'll figure it out. But you look at Walled Lake Western. They beat Walled Lake Northern pretty bad, 33-9. They have a huge road win at Lowell. And I mean that, at Lowell. Lowell is a very good football team. Of course, they shut down Lowell Dean. Of course, their head coach is Gabe Dean. Of course, the Dean family basically runs Lowell football. And Walled Lake Western went in there and just beat them. They went into Lowell and beat them. Lowell's a heck of a football team. They really much are a heck of a team. But you got to give Walled Lake Western their fair due. They're still undefeated. They won the KLA North title. They're riding high right now. The reason why they're at home against Groves is because they have more playoff points than the Falcons. Groves, I think this is where playing a weak schedule will hurt them. Because despite playing the last 2 weeks against 2 very good teams, an Ann Arbor Pioneer, and also last week against Farmington Hills Harrison, This is a team that really has not been tested besides those last 2 weeks. Wall Lake Western has been tested. They played some top teams in the Kensington. They played Waterford Mott, who I don't think is that good. I wasn't impressed with Waterford Mott, even though they got routed by Detroit Catholic Central. Even though I don't think that Fitzpatrick is that good. I really don't think he's that good. Had a nice argument with Scott Bernstein over that a couple weeks ago. You could watch that podcast. Also, when you look at Groves, they have not seen a defense like Wall Lake Western's going to give them. There is no doubt that Wall Lake Western is going to give Groves a lot of serious problems. And they will give them serious problems. Because I think their defense, now, I've had people talk to me about Wall Lake Western. Are they vulnerable? Oh, yeah, they're vulnerable. Because, here's Groves, a team that nobody's talking about. Everybody thought it was going to be Harrison that's going to play Wall Lake Western. But Wall Lake Western can be beat. They can be. If you shut down their passing attack and force them to run the ball. Groves can do that. But the key is going to be has the schedule prepared Groves enough? And my answer to that is no. Why? I'm going to use a term from my brother Anthony Terramina. Of course, he works for History Now too. Simple. Let's look at what happened with Groves. Besides winning badly and getting 6 shutouts, they really haven't played anyone until 2 weeks ago when they played Ann Arbor Pioneer. They really haven't. This is a team that really has a lot of questions. They still have questions, despite the fact they have 2 very good tailbacks in Cedric Boswell and Ernest Allen. Now, Wall Lake Western has seen Division I type athletes playing running back. They have. And it's going to be I think when I look at this matchup, if you shut down Groves' running game, you beat Groves. Despite the fact that their quarterback had a nice game last week against Harrison. I just think when I look at this matchup, this does not favor Groves at all. Having to go to Wall Lake to play the Warriors. And if whoever wins this game might host the regional. And the winner of that regional will either be Fenton or Midland Dow. And I think Midland Dow will beat Fenton. I really do. Fenton was lucky to escape Holly last week. Had not been for a mistake by Holly deciding to go for 2 and for the win. If they would have went for 1, I think it would have been Holly that won that game. Midland Dow had no problem spanking their arch rival from Midland last week. They had no problem at all. And now they're going to be going down to Fenton. I think when you look at it, if it's Midland Dow going there, I think Midland Dow will beat Fenton this week. And then I think that Midland Dow is going to probably either take on Wall Lake Western, or Groves. Groves, they have a chance in this game. They do. I got to give them that much. But do I think they're going to go in and beat Wall Lake Central? No. End of the day, I just think Wall Lake Western's more experienced, better team, better talented team. Schedule's going to hurt Groves in this matchup. And Groves will be shell-shocked. They're going to be shell-shocked. And Wall Lake Western puts up at least 35 on them. They will be shell-shocked. But if Groves shuts them down, they shut them down and stun Wall Lake Western, I'll praise everything about Groves. I will praise this team. But until they beat somebody, they beat Harrison, they beat Ann Arbor Pioneer, but until they can go and beat somebody on the road, then I still don't think Groves is that good. And unfortunately, they got to win on the road to beat somebody. I don't think it's going to be this week. I think Walled Lake Western's going to beat them, and they're going to beat them pretty bad. That's what my thoughts are on Groves. Let's look at the other matchup. Got Southfield playing Berkeley at Hurley Field. This is a big game for Berkeley. Biggest opponent they've ever had go to Hurley. And Berkeley's a good team. There's no doubt about that. But I just think Southfield's better. Because they're well coached. Tim Conley does a nice job of that team. I also like their assistant coach, I like Vic Barden a lot. He does a heck of a job with his kids. But they beat Southfield Lathrop 27-0. But I'll tell you what, Southfield Lathrop's not Southfield. Southfield's going to be it's going to be so bad for Berkeley. It's a tough matchup for them. Because Berkeley don't match them up well. Southfield's got young athletes, young talented athletes, and they have played a more vicious schedule than Berkeley. I look at this matchup as like the new kids on the block versus the established kids on the block. The established ones is Southfield. Southfield still has a lot to prove. If they can win this matchup, I think they can go and beat either Jackson or Livonia Franklin Regional. And then their big one would be Detroit Martin Luther King or Detroit East English Village Prep. That will be a heck of a game between Detroit East English Village Prep and Detroit Martin Luther King. East English Village Prep upset Warren De La Salle. They had to come back from behind and score 2 touchdowns to win that game. They had to. To go at Wayne State. Now, a geographical standpoint, I just don't know why Warren De La Salle play their games at Wayne State. I don't know why they do that. But they did it. Detroit Martin Luther King had some problems early in the week with UAD Jesuit. They did. But they still won. So, when I look at this game, when I look at Southfield Berkeley, Southfield on paper should just absolutely kill Berkeley at Hurley. Of course, Hurley Field is located at Anderson Middle School. But Southfield on paper should just go in and absolutely demolish Berkeley. And I think, that will take place. I really do think that will take place. Because Berkeley, Chris Sequoia's had a heck of a season. They've had a heck of a season. But this is like no other team that the Berkeley Bears have seen in the Southfield Blue Jays. Yes, they're young, but they're talented, well coached. Tim Conley does a heck of a job with that team. Very good emerging freshman quarterback in Samuel Johnson III. They're going to get better as this playoffs keep rolling along. Because that is the model. Southfield wants to get to Ford Field so badly. They do. You know what? And I'm going to take a limb right now. I think they beat Detroit Martin Luther King again. And Southfield gets their dream and goes to Ford Field this year. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. But that's what I think could happen. And I'm saying on air. But I know, but can't jinx them. I think Southfield's going to kill Berkeley this week. And I think the Blue Jays are going to be the ones going to Ford Field. Because that is something that this team and this staff need. And that, to me, is one of the greatest accomplishments. But you can't crown Southfield yet. Because they're still, but I think they'll win this week pretty handily over Berkeley. Berkeley will give them a fight. There is no doubt about Berkeley will give them a fight. But at the end of the day, I just think that, I just think that Southfield's better coached, more depth, team speed. I think it's going to be a huge factor. And I just think Southfield's just going to steamroll Berkeley. They're going to shut no one given down. And I just think that they're just the Whites helped them a lot in their Week 1 game when they played Detroit Cast Tech. Helped them a lot. Now, when they lost Matt Falcon, didn't help things, but, who knows? Who knows? But with Southfield, they got a lot of motivation. They're still running on emotions right now. Of course, what happened when their teammates passed away in August. But this Southfield team, I think maybe the OAA's best hope of possibly sending a team to state finals. No offense to Groves, no offense to Berkeley, but I think Southfield right now is the best team right now in the OAA right now. That's just my thought. That's my thought process. Final thoughts, of course, very rough week for football. Of course, girls basketball trials start next week. I mentioned that. Volleyball districts keep continuing on. Of course, regional will preview that. Of course, a lot of people are looking ahead. Encourage those. Don't look ahead in your matchups. You just got to take care of business before you move on. So we'll see what happens heading into the year. We'll see what happens heading into volleyball districts. Of course, cross country state finals this weekend. Encourage everybody to go watch. So we'll see what happens. Okay, now everybody, I'm going to sign off here. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. God bless, and good night.
OAA Now is produced at Orion Neighborhood Television, Lake Orion's community media outlet. To learn more about ONTV, visit our website at www.orionontv.org or call us at 248-393-1060.